Also coming up this morning, Parliament is expected to hear the LGBT bill this week for the second reading as the House resumes today. And on the international front, fresh unrest amid anger over killing of teen in France. Details of these and many more coming up in the next 20 minutes if you spend your time with me. Remember, we're live on DSTV channel 27. Now, let's begin from the court because Asen North MP-elect James Gyakye Quayson has filed an appeal in the Court of Appeal challenging the daily trial order made by High Court Judge Mary Yanzu. A statement from his lawyers say this is to ensure that Quayson gets a fair trial in the criminal case against him and filed an application for stay of proceedings pending the determination of his appeal on grounds that his rights are being breached. Motion for stay of proceedings to be moved tomorrow at 11 a.m. by the Venerable Chachu Chikata Esquire at Criminal Court 3 in Accra. Meanwhile, Gyakye Quayson is expected in court today to continue the hearing of criminal charges leveled against him. He faces up to 10 years in prison if found guilty of 5 criminal charges, which are deceit of a public officer, forgery of a passport, knowingly making a false statutory declaration, perjury and false declaration. Noble Crosby Annan has more in this report.
James Gyakye Quayson, he gained media attention right after winning the 2020 Asen North parliamentary election, especially after allegations of dual nationality were made against him. His dominance in the media space is not likely to wane due to the criminal charges against him. He lost his status as Member of Parliament for the Asen North constituency, now although he has been retained after a crucial by-election. But what could be his fate?
He's going back as a new Member of Parliament. Even though he would not have to go through maybe any orientation, he has to be sworn in by the Right Honorable Speaker, even if his name was expunged from the records. I'm not too sure whether during this short period of time, somebody has replaced him in some of the committees that he serves on. I believe the NDC would like to send a message, and they will send him back those committees that he belonged to before the Supreme Court gave that directive to Parliament.
Since 2020, the NDC has backed him in various ways despite his predicaments, with major NDC members supporting him in their Asen North constituency, ensuring they did not lose in the by-election. For Dr. Kwesi Amakye-Boateng, it is time for the party to reap the fruits of their labor.
He stands out as a candidate that the constituents like so much. He comes with something that the NDC want to engage him and find out and possibly try to benefit from that. He has a lot of credit in his social accounts with the constituency. Between now and 2024, I expect him to even add to that and possibly build some sort of a similar support for their presidential candidate.
He faces up to 10 years in prison if found guilty of the criminal charges, considering his recent victory and the potential consequences. What next in that regard?
I believe in the rule of law, and I do things according to the law. The fundamental belief or value of legal system, you're innocent until proven guilty. So for him to say that, I think it's not a qualified statement.
The fact that he's been elected a member of parliament will not affect the scales of justice. At the end of the day, the burden of proof on the prosecution to prove beyond reasonable doubt that Mr. Quayson has committed the offense that they are prosecuting him for will not be lessened because Mr. Quayson has been elected a member of parliament, and it will not be worsened because Mr. Quayson has been elected a member of parliament.
It appears it is all but over, but there is certainly more to come. Noble Crosby Annan, TV3 Accra.
Let's still stay in Asin North because residents say they expect the completion of ongoing projects in their constituency despite a loss for the ruling party in the by-election. Eric Marinegbetter has this report.
It has been a race by the ruling administration to, as much to their ability, develop the Asin North constituency since the by-election here was announced. All across the constituency, as was widely reported, developmental projects sprang up in rapid pace. Now the election has ended and the ruling party's candidate did not emerge victorious. Down there, you see ongoing road projects which were expected to continue, but as at the morning after the elections, machines are stationed up there and work is not yet beginning. At Akumfede, the asphalting of the road was yet to be completed. A part of the road leading to the junction had been left unattended to with grinder machines parked. The district capital was no different. Hurriedly constructed gutters were still drying up as a worker removed wood from freshly constructed drains. Stone chipping were heaped by the sides of the road, but the workers were not on site. The residents say they expect the projects to be completed on schedule.
Maybe they overworked, that's why they are resting. But from tomorrow, we are hoping that they will continue. If they don't continue, 2024 is just 1.5 years. If they are not able to complete, I don't think the community will say something good to them, because they will tell them that we were told that you were doing this for by-election. Prove to us.
Asin North Alankasano, Ewahapa, Sababi Bibi, Nessa Ebia, Onya, so be what is sad and Nessa and Sanka, Sanya, so as Sana, Adio Babiano, Nisankantino, no Jamego.
Governments oftentimes do not see to the completion of their projects. It's because they were not rewarded in terms of votes. We hope you will be able to see to the completion of the projects.
We are hopeful they would continue. We may have lost the elections, but they would continue.
Absolutely. This one, everything has ended and then they don't have any other option than to continue, because probably next year they will come soliciting for vote again. So if they continue this kind of project, that would prove to the people that this isn't for the vote, but rather for development.
From the road to Asempanaye to Kushia, this recently constructed road is already beginning to develop potholes. The earthing are already becoming bare for some of the drivers who are plying the road. It's not really a busy road, and so for it to begin to show, according to residents, is concerning. But they tell us that the contractors, per interactions with them, have revealed that they've packed the machinery aside to make way for the by-elections in the constituency, after which they would return and a second coating will be laid on this particular stretch of the road. Eric Marinegbetter, TV3 News, from the road of Asempanaye to Kushia.
Away from Asin North, President Akufo-Addo and the New Patriotic Party have congratulated the National Democratic Congress and James Gyakye Quayson for winning the Asin North by-election. The president urged New Patriotic Party supporters not to despair, but rather keep their heads up given the possible outcomes of loss or victory in elections. The General Secretary of the party also in a statement asked party supporters to remain positive and pick the lessons from the election to improve their strategy going forward. Both the president and the party noted that for an opposition party to win the election further goes to strengthen Ghana's democratic credentials. They also commended the Electoral Commission and its chairperson, the security services, for maintaining law and order, and the media like TV3 and all our sister stations for providing extensive coverage before, during and after the elections. Well, still on the presidency, President Akufo-Addo says government will continue to pursue strategic policies to set the economy on sound footing despite global challenges. He was speaking at this year's Eid-al-Adha prayers here in Accra.
It is this attitude and commitment by government that have enabled our nation to obtain an IMF program in record time. As you can see, we're beginning to navigate the turbulence, with our economy growing by 4.2% in the first quarter of 2023. The currency has seen some stability lately, and through the Gold for Oil program, we've seen the stability in the prices of petroleum products as well, all of which are helping to bring inflation down. Things are getting better and will get better, I can assure you.
Well, if you're just tuning in, you're watching the first bulletin of the day here on TV3 with me, George Quenny. Let's know what you make of stories that have been aired so far. Just go into our social media platforms, TV3 Ghana, engage us, and we'll surely read your comments and share them to the rest of the world. And now the second reading of the Proper Human Sexual Rights and Ghanaian Family Values Bill, also known as the Bill on Ghana's Position on LGBT Rights, is expected to feature this week in Parliament as the House resumes from the holiday. The Speaker of Parliament, who has been vocal about the need for the bill to be given attention, directed it that it be tabled in the other paper this very week. And First Deputy Speaker Joe Owusu was presiding.
I have been directed by the Speaker to bring to the attention of the Business Committee two matters. One, the Standing Orders Committee's report should be programmed for Thursday. So please take note and have it programmed for Thursday. Two, the Proper Human Sexuality and Ghanaian Family Values Bill be programmed for Tuesday or Thursday. Whatever it is, it must be on the other paper next week. And that Tuesday, the motion for second reading of that bill should be programmed for Tuesday or Thursday. These are the directives of Mr. Speaker.
And if you're just tuning in, this is the first bulletin of the day here on TV3 with me, George Queenan. And let's know what you make of stories that have been aired so far. Engage us, share with us your contributions, your views and reservations. And surely we'll read your, comments and share them to the rest of the world. And President of the Ghana Union of Traders Association, Dr. Joseph Obeng, believes full tax compliance requires affordable taxes. He questions how businesses can compete with counterparts in other countries due to overpriced industrialization in Ghana. And these were revealed yesterday at the second edition of the Financial Economic Seminar. And this is the first bulletin of the day here on TV3 with me, George Queenan. President of the Ghana Union of Traders Association, Dr. Joseph Obeng, believes full tax compliance requires affordable taxes. He questions how businesses can compete with counterparts in other countries due to overpriced industrialization in Ghana. These were revealed yesterday at the second edition of Financial Economic Seminar in Accra. The president of the Ghana Union of Traders Association, Dr. Joseph Obeng, urged government to rectify high tax compliance as it can hinder economic growth.
The cost items, when you are planning those, cumulates to it's about 20 different cost items, which cumulates to between 55% to 65%. If your import value is $100,000 and you are bringing something like tin tomatoes and all that, it means that your taxes will cumulate to 65%. At $100,000, it means that you are going to pay a whooping tax or duty of $65,000. Not even an angel will comply to this, because it's about the highest in the whole of the world.
But Deputy Minister of Trade and Industry, Dr. Stephen Amoah, urged businesses to build capacities and demand tax reduction in response.
Reducing taxes, interest rates are good. I advocate, I support them. But they shouldn't also think everything is about mommy and daddy. Because I also see that a lot, not all, but most of our investors and entrepreneurs, with the experience I have from outside in Ghana, to be honest, they are also not competitive. Right. So as much as they are also calling, They should also learn how to build businesses, even people they employ.
Stakeholders at the second Financial Economic Seminar in Accra emphasized government support for businesses' growth by creating an enabling environment. And now to the foreign front. Thousands of extra security forces face a second night of unrest in France after a 17-year-old driver was shot and killed by police near Paris on Tuesday during a traffic check. The teenager, named as Nahel M., was shot at point-blank range as he drove off and crashed soon afterwards. Paris police said they had contained sporadic episodes of fresh violence. In Toulouse, protesters started a fire and threw stones at firefighters as they tried to put it out. And demonstrators also clashed with police in the northern city of Lille. French President Emmanuel Macron said the shooting of Nahel was unforgivable, but his comments drew an angry reaction from police unions who accused him of rushing to judge the officers involved. Well, that's how we end the morning news. For more news updates, just log on to our website, is 3news.com. Thanks for watching. It's always a pleasure coming your way. Adra, Roland, good morning, guys.
Hello, good morning. How are you?
I'm okay. Yourself?
We're okay. We hope that you had a nice 24 hours over the last period.
Okay, let's say it was nice. I had some, work doing yesterday, so I was here, and yeah, I closed like the normal working day, so.
Yeah.
So it wasn't much of a holiday for you?
Not at all, Adra.
Yeah.
Journalists don't have.
It's the life we chose.
I know, right?
That's what they
Forgotten
say.
country.
Forgotten country, yeah. Oh, really, you are being
guys,
insulted.
Assin North constituents are hopeful that, ongoing projects that were started prior to the by-elections will be completed.
What did Eric Mawina-Egbeta say?
He says the constituents are hopeful.
Okay.
That
You mean the
project that was started?
They've stopped just a day or two?
They stopped for the elections and said they will resume. Controllers said they will resume. So we're just hoping that that's what it is. But I'm just thinking out loud, Papa.
Yeah.
Right.
I'm not just thinking out loud. Despite the loss.
Well.
I see. All right. We'll see how that goes. The thing is that we'll go and monitor and see whether the construction as well as the other activities,
sure.
And many of them, to be fair, actually predates the period of the by-election.
Sure.
They actually were given days before, or if not months, or at least a year or two or three before.
Sure.
Komla Kluche did give us an update on construction ongoing on Government Agenda 111 project. We also do know that today, which is Thursday, there is going to be a briefing by the Ministry of Information alongside the presidential spokesperson on health or advisor on health, Dr. Nsia Sari, in the Ashanti region. So we're going to get more updates as to the level or states up to completion of